The Nuclear Triad: Politics, Confusion, and Dark Money Hijacked Ohio's Nuclear Fission Future, by Joseph Trivette, with advisor Dr. Sarah Dumyan and Miami University's Institute for the Environment and Sustainability. Briefly, overview of nuclear fission. In the United States, there are two different kinds of fission reactors. They're both water-based. There's pressurized, and then there's boiling water. The two in the state of Ohio, one of them's pressurized, one of them's boiling. It's essentially it's used to create steam, which then turns turbines that creates electricity. That's a basic overview. And also, it's important to note that nuclear power is the largest source of carbon electricity in the developed world, and the second largest after hydro in the world as a whole as of 2018. Ohio's electricity generation, nuclear by far outweighs non-renewable sources like hydroelectric and then non-hydroelectric renewables. It makes up about 15% of the energy generation or total energy in the state of Ohio, powering a lot of northeast and northwest Ohio. So fission in Ohio, there's the Perry Nuclear Fission Power Plant and the Davis-Besse Nuclear Fission Plant. Perry is a boiling water plant. Davis-Besse is a pressurized water plant. Perry opened later in '87, while Besse was '78. This is important because of safety things. Perry Nuclear is one of the largest boiling water reactors in the United States. Davis-Besse is actually riddled with safety complications in its history, which does not add positively to the already bad reputation nuclear receives as a whole. Davis-Besse, for example, provides 40% of electricity used in northwestern Ohio and produces $10 million annually in local and state taxes. One of the things to note here why Perry seems to be more successful than Davis-Besse with safety concerns. Perry, while it only operates one reactor, it was designed for two, so there's a second cooling pool in case the first one was to somehow be corrupted. So overall, the First Energy Solutions Corps, and Energy Harbor, these are all essentially part of the same organization, but it's important to note here. They own the two nuclear fissions in Ohio, Davis-Besse and Perry. They're based in Akron. So in 2017, First Energy created First Energy Solutions and put the two nuclear facilities under its ownership and then cut ties completely to make it a separate corporate entity. In 2018, First Energy Solutions declared bankruptcy in hopes to secure government financial assistance, create incentives for investors. What they essentially did was told investors they were seeking a bailout, either federally or state, and they seek both. They seeked it with the Trump administration in an executive order, and they also seeked it with the state through HB 6, which we'll get into in a minute. And FES went through bankruptcy court. They refused to divulge the finances of the two plants to claim bankruptcy. Some experts say that their nuclear plants are actually profitable, but there's no evidence to back this claim up yet because there's confidentiality agreements with bankruptcy. So for House Bill 6, this is important. It passed the Ohio General Assembly in July of 2019 by a pretty narrow margin, considering the Republicans have a supermajority. It took 14 weeks of negotiation, which it actually did not please environmental groups or conservative groups, so it didn't really please either side. It's important because $150 million annually is allocated to First Energy for these two these two nuclear fission plants. $20 million annually is appropriated to 6 power projects around the state. And then another issue is it subsidizes 2 coal-fired power plants with $50 million through 2030. One's in Ohio, one's in Indiana. They both operate as a loss, which is huge to bail out these. And then overall, it slashed renewable energy standards for the next few years and the next decades ahead. Surrounding taxes is a big part of it. So HB 6 mandates that every Ohio electricity customer has to pay a monthly surcharge from 2021 to 2027. This can range from 85 cents to $2,400 for residential customers, Then starting in 2020, there's now a monthly charge for the coal power plants that are working at a loss. Proponents say this will save $1.3 billion for Ohioans. In reality, that money is not saved because it repeals the renewable energy mandates, which a majority of that money was from that. So it repealed renewable energy while sending money to these fission plants and the coal power plants. So some of the dark money involved. First Energy's accrued over $1 million worth of legal billings in their attempt to persuade Ohio General Assembly to vote in their favor. These legal billings are to mostly attorneys that do lobbying work. The First Energy's PAC Political Action Committee has donated nearly $1 million in campaign contributions to legislators, public officials, and political parties since 2017. And then a third tactic that was used is that throughout the process of HB 6, First Energy was threatening legislators to completely shutting off the nuclear fission plants, destroying the energy in northern Ohio, and cutting the jobs of 4,300 people. So the response created petition. There was petitions created on all sides, and then there was fake petitions put together by First Energy that was funded by them to confuse petitioners. And then in July 2020, recently the Ohio House Speaker was arrested in connection to a $60 million bribery scandal related to House Bill 6, an energy harbor, which is now what houses the two fission reactors, but it's both part of First Energy. So the takeaways is that nuclear fission is actually very vital to address climate change, especially in Ohio. It's the largest low-carbon emitting energy generation in Ohio. Clear, direct transparency in decision-making and usage of public dollars needs to be common practice. Public utility reforms alongside pure and unpolitical investment in nuclear fission, because that's a valued resource in the state of Ohio. And then energy legislation must be concentrated on singular beneficial issues instead of jamming in bailouts for coal power plants operating at losses while slashing renewable energy standards and using different budgetary standards to convey false narratives of profits and benefits for taxpayers. And here's your references. So thank you very much.